Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week it's our theater picks. We're doing the movie The Man of Steel, made in 2013, and we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens,
Meow.
Ryan Pinball Preston, and Jeff Michael. This week we're doing Man of Steel, and I think Ryan has the IMDb description.
Right here, indeed. Man of Steel 2013, director Zack Snyder. Description: a young, itinerant worker is forced to confront his secret extraterrestrial heritage when Earth is invaded by members of his race.
So my first question, what movie is this?
Okay, my first question is, who the hell needs a Superman movie described to him? The character's damn near 100 years old. People know this like they know Santa Claus. But, you know.
So
anyway,
I guess...
But as far as this one, it describes sort of a portion of it, I guess.
Can I go first, just to get it out of the way?
Sure. Why not?
So...
Go ahead.
So this is my description, because just looking at about Krypton. Whereas Krypton looks like Panzer Dragoon Orta meets Matrix with a side of H.R. Giger.
I was thinking kind of a little bit of Star Wars thrown in
references.
there.
Where Panzer Dragoon Orta was an original Xbox video game, and you look at it, it looks like a hodgepodge of different styles, especially with the more organic feel. It totally seems like something Giger would have done. But less phallic symbols. A lot less.
Well, it's Superman.
So he is a phallic symbol.
It's not Flash Gordon.
Well, at least they dialed down, the
Or Little Mermaid.
and everything.
See, I didn't get that. I know, like Aliens, he did the inside of the alien ship.
He did all the aliens or anything involving that he did.
Right. I see him as a little bit more darker. I wouldn't really.
So he did Aliens versus Predator?
Well, I just meant like the actual more organic feel, like the way that the symbols were, the kind of the organic feel was kind of, I guess, Giger-esque.
Kind of moving armor and stuff like that.
Yeah. And did any of you guys realize Kevin Costner and Lawrence Fishburne were in this?
Yeah. I knew that before.
So I didn't actually, because I actually went in this.
Well, I didn't know it before. I
You did?
I saw them.
I knew it before. That's why I was kind of a little bit more interested to see this one.
I didn't know they were in this at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I knew Kevin Costner.
I didn't watch a whole lot of trailers.
Okay. Well, I didn't look at any trailers. I just looked at the cast when they first said they were going to do this movie, and I looked at the cast list, and there was Fishburne and Costner. I mentioned this in the movie show.
I don't remember.
Yikes. Neither of you do.
So here's a question. Any of you in the canon of of any of the series, the comic book, or whatever, remember his dad dying? Not
how he died?
Well,
Earth
been
Dad.
a couple different.
Oh, the Earth Dad. No, I don't know how he died. I heard it was like a farming accident in one of the lores, but
I don't remember.
I didn't actually read the comic book to know.
There's been a bunch of different ways that his dad is gone.
Look, as far as canon's concerned, all I know is oh no, and then he goes.
Yeah, there's one of them I know he went with like a heart
That's
attack.
canon to me.
And they also did his dad die in that show that they did about Superman. What is that, Smallville?
Oh, I didn't watch very much of that.
I actually kind of got into it.
I watched like 2 seasons.
But I saw the episode where his dad died.
I watched all the way to the point, the season before he got introduced to like Red Kryptonite. I don't know what season that was.
Yeah, that's where it got kind of stupid. Then
I was half expecting Pink Kryptonite to pop out. Ooh, I'm suddenly gay.
There actually is a Krypton.
I know
that does that. The other thing that's interesting is how
can you live on a planet if it's made of kryptonite and you can't even take it?
That was the other thing that I was always curious about, because the kryptonite actually came from Krypton.
Right.
From the planet blowing up.
Where it came from.
Well, it gives off the same radiation as he would be there. So basically, he's close to the radiation of his home planet. So that's why he
loses all his power. Yeah. I kind of got that, and they kind of covered that a little bit, saying that he was accustomed to the Earth environment and not the Kryptonian environment. That's why he was like having all those spaz attacks when he was on the ship.
That's why they said when they were terraforming the Earth that he was going to start losing his powers.
Yeah, they did kind of cover that.
So that was their
movie.
form of kryptonite.
And I like how they basically showed that Superman was the one they gave all the powers to, because in the other, I think it was Superman 2 or 3, the older one.
2.
Like, everybody on that planet has these powers, can fly and all this stuff, but apparently Not in this film.
Well, no,
Yeah.
because if you watch the end of the movie,
get the powers eventually.
Yeah, the end of the movie, General Zog had it. What it was is just his body wasn't used to it, so his body was still
absorbing the radiation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just gave a little bit more, kind of a deeper logic to it.
Yeah, Superman had been here long enough
and had a lot of time to,
to store it up.
Yeah.
and to learn how to use it and not
Yeah.
be, like you said, I have to focus,
And
Yeah.
you not like, set everything on fire or see through people's skin constantly.
Yeah, that kind of did get covered in there. Did you have more
I
points?
actually liked that as a plot point.
Yeah, I actually did too. I was a little bit happy about that. Anyway,
That was the one part I was really glad they just kind of didn't glance over it. They're actually kind of trying to get a little more realism into Superman, if there is such a thing.
yeah,
Well, I heard
understand.
But
a
it's-
description of it when I think it was Zack Snyder did an interview and saying the original tagline for the original Superman was "You will believe a man can fly." He said that you will believe that Superman could exist in the real world.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a pretty good job.
They did, and I'll get to some of the things that stuck out to me in a little bit. Do you have more?
Yeah, well, the other one was, how many times does Russell Crowe have to get stabbed in a movie?
At least 8 more times.
Because that was the first thing I saw after that happened. It's like, dude, that guy just has bad luck with knives.
They got to round it up to like an even 50, so 10
Right.
more times, something like that.
No, that's really it. I'm kind of glad they actually added the more organic feel to like how Superman got his powers instead of it's the Earth's radiation. I like their explanation of that a lot more.
And how it would really affect a small child, growing up in that environment, and how a father would react to these kinds of things and what he would try to do.
Which is something I think they kind of did, but they never had it to the level where you actually got to see, the bad side. Generally, it's him flying or him doing something.
It seems like every Superman movie, show, book, whatever I've ever seen is all the same concept. Him learning his powers.
It's
And then-
Superman. What else?
I
can
know,
you do?
but there's no Superman's a continuing character. That's one part of his life. They've never showed, half the time, I don't even know who the hell Superman's villains are, because all I've seen is him come to his
Mizzleplex.
power, and then
Yeah,
Luther.
the people who know who the villains are the ones who read the books
comics,
or
yeah.
Well, I think one of the reasons why they always do kind of the introduction of the characters, because there's so much canon, different variation of the stories, it helps set the background, and then they can go forward.
Really, I
Yeah.
think they're running a dead horse into the ground. I think they're just trying to revamp this story that they just
But
need
I-
to continue on with, as opposed to keep
I see
going
what you're
back
saying,
to
but
it.
I mean,
see
are
the
you-
continuing character in like a Justice League kind of
Right?
form.
Yeah, but I mean, do you really want them to all of a sudden pick up off of the Christopher Reeves and bring it into this Henry Cavill or whatever? you
Yeah, if it's gonna mend, they can make it mend. I mean, come on.
I don't think the
say? Or the one that was just recently. What was it? The Superman that was most recent. Superman Returns.
Yeah. So I think with this one, I think the reason this is a little more realistic even for the Superman Returns. This adds a flair adding to the JL movie, because if you actually saw it, they had the satellite had Wayne Enterprises,
Yeah.
and there was a LexCorp truck.
There's a LexCorp truck. Yeah, so I mean they're definitely setting it up for a longer payoff.
And
I am-
Sears and IHOP.
I am curious on how. The only thing I'm really curious to end up my thing is how Kryptonite would work for him, because they already showed that the Kryptons could change their ship's environment to make him weak. How would Kryptonite work? Are they going to have it in this
Same
universe?
way.
I think it would just kind of affect him like the environment did, where he loses his power and kind of goes into like a spastastic mode or something.
And the people
And then
from
eventually
the same
die.
planet didn't have a problem with kryptonite. It was just Superman.
Well, his issue is because he's been on Earth so much that he's used to the way his body feels.
And the Phantom Zone probably had a lot of this, the Kryptonian properties and
Yeah. The thing I was thinking though is that it's like the same thing as far as radiation works for us here. It's a slow burn, and eventually we,
Die.
develop some type of cancer and die, or it's a
There's a plan.
quicker explosion, and you just kind of. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I always figured kryptonite was, but I'm thinking that this one would be a little bit more like where he would lose his powers pretty rapidly and then just kind of degrade, type thing. Anyway,
Yeah,
but that's how I think kryptonite.
yeah, that's later on. But
Yeah. I was gonna let Jeffy go. Jeffrey. Jeffrey.
I like the idea of Superman. I guess I've realized I don't like the actual character, how they've written him. the idea of Superman is great. In fact, I was excited to see this film because I was like, yeah, new Superman. You know, I kind of wanted it to be a little darker, even though everyone's like, that's not Superman. And I'm like, I know. But,
I don't know. This one got a little dark.
To tell you the truth, I thought it was, like, it felt like I was watching a Michael Bay show. I mean,
It's the Michael Bay Show. Welcome to the Michael Bay Show.
Right? My biggest problem.
Explosions and bad CGI for everyone.
Seriously, my biggest problem was that he kept
Here's some eye rape.
pushing. You notice how they'd beat the crap out of each other and they'd fly through a building. Beat the crap out of each other, fly through a building. You know,
Yeah.
that's like the whole movie. You've got
how
like
do
an
you-
hour of them pushing each other through the building, and then at the very end, when he finally kills the guy, all it takes is a snap neck. I'm sorry, that's BS, dude. You're flying through buildings, your neck's gonna break.
Well, Ryan, you were going to say something?
Well, okay. Well, shit. Where do I start after that?
Just
I thought it was dark. Also, I didn't think the CGI was bad. I'm not gonna go against the logic of the flying through buildings against steel girders and then twist the neck. But
I have an explanation for that.
I do too. I'll get to it in mine.
Good, because it's one of those things, like why does he struggle on certain things? Why does he not on other things? One day he could stop and picking up an entire island, or the next day he's struggling to whatever.
Or get
I
nuked
understand
by an
people's
atomic
points on
bomb.
that. I didn't think the CGI was bad, going along with just how the movie was made.
There
I
sure
like
was a
the
lot
look
of it, though.
CGI. Basically, my example, we've come a long way since Matrix Revolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that fight? How crappy that was. Them looking at each other looked like just a claymation of people fighting in the air.
Yeah, that's because it kind
This
of
one,
was.
they actually got to look like the character. Even in
Stop
Superman
motion.
Returns, it was really on the edge of something that could be decent. But this one, I thought they dialed it in pretty good. And I was a big naysayer of CGI.
I think they were trying to make it too epic. I
think they went a little overboard on the 30-minute throwing people through buildings thing. I think somebody had the numbers of how much damage that they did in the in that end
At
fight
least
scene, how
$6
much
billion.
collateral damage.
Right? You're like, hey, I killed this one guy, but yeah, those 30,000 people that are dead as a result, no, it's okay.
Well, I think that the thing about that is, how is somebody who's strong as Superman and somebody who basically is the same strength as Superman, how would they fight? Their fight would be destructive.
Right, of course.
That's true. I agree, but I got a point to get there.
But he's trying to save the world, and, I mean, if he's this superhero, take it in the freaking air. Don't take it
quote
on the
the-
ground where you're
to
destroying everyone's homes.
To quote
And
U.S.
I
government, it's
think they
called
did
collateral
eventually
damage.
sort of take it to the air once Zod sort of kind of got the hang of the flying thing. Because before, in the beginning, he was obviously jumping around like Clark was in the
hopping.
beginning. But then once they learned to fly, I think they. But yeah, this movie was, I think, dark enough. I think it was almost a little too serious, though. I think that was one of my biggest contentions of it.
Well-
There wasn't really a lot of happy moments in it.
I liked the seriousness of it. I'm sorry, Jeff.
I think they're trying to veer away from, because most of all of Superman films as of recently are kind of corny. I mean, look at
The saying it had to be kitschy and the same kind of one-liners that Superman always had, but give a little bit more light to the
I think
character.
they wanted you to take this character more seriously than the other movies portrayed him, because the other movies portrayed him kind of like just a corny, remember that horrible movie Meteor Man? I mean, it could have been Meteor Man. It didn't matter. He was just that campy guy that saved the world, but now they're giving him more of a story, more of a reason to kind of get behind his back and say, okay, this is a good guy, he's a superhero, as opposed to some campy guy with 3 one-liners,
He's still the character is always going to be a Boy Scout. You're never going to have Batman not be, unless it's like the other world type of thing.
Bizarro World?
Yeah.
Anyway, you got any more, Ryan?
Or Jeff.
I like what they did with the Phantom Zone. I like the guy who played General Zod a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was a much better General Zod than the original.
Yes.
Reeves?
He was in Premium Rush.
He was,
Michael
wasn't he?
Shannon.
Yep. He was the
saw
main
that movie.
cop
That was the
guy
bicycle
was
movie?
After, yeah.
Yeah. With
Was that any good?
Gordon
It was
Levitt.
actually really entertaining. I thought it
You
was
know,
going to be crap.
a
It was
guy
good.
in an action movie on a 10-speed didn't exactly get me to the movie theater.
Right?
Ring,
The
ring,
way they filmed
pull
it,
over,
though,
ring, ring.
they really did a well job. The way they filmed it, it was like, I don't know, it just
You almost have
captured
to.
all the action. And,
It's the modern day Rad Racer.
I was thinking it was the modern day Bullet on a 10-speed.
hell. If anything, it's like the new Tron. I mean, come on. you
What?
know?
Well,
Tron, the guy
that
who went into
doesn't
the
give me any
game and was
faith.
I know what Tron is.
the way he was. I would say it was Tron in the
Can
way
we
he
just
was going
rewind
through
that
the
moment
city.
and go back in time? So,
Hey, don't you like Tron, John?
yes, I just think that's kind of like comparing
He
an
loves
apple
it.
to an
Don't
orange.
jump on the bandwagon. you gotta stand by your pick there. You love Tron, and we think it sucks.
Yes.
Yes.
But how do you compare Tron to a bicycle?
No, I'm
Oh,
not
so you're
comparing
saying
it.
that how
You're
dare
not
you,
listening.
You besmirch the name of Tron.
Here's
Yeah,
how
exactly.
Here's how I'm comparing it. All I'm comparing is the way that they shot it. That they were moving downtown.
So they're moving
The
quick
racing
and kind
scenes,
of
the way-
lines
yeah,
and
the way
everything.
how
Okay,
it's
I got
kinda
you.
like, you know.
I got you. I understood where you're going, but John's offended.
Yes, I know.
What about you, James?
All right, I agree with Ryan in the fact that for me, this movie, for a Superman movie, this was dark. Because Superman movies are generally happy, go, yay!
Puppies and
But was it
cats.
serious or was it dark?
I actually believe this movie was exceptionally serious for a Superman movie. This
I
movie
agree.
was slow for, like, all of it. It was slow. It was very slow.
Do you think it redeemed itself a little bit at the end?
No.
You know,
I
I'll
kinda
get
do.
I'll get there in a second. But what I was going to really make a mention of is I enjoyed the fact that they went into his childhood and showed some of the development of his powers, like the school scene where he's in school and all of a sudden he's starting to get his X-ray vision to come in.
Yeah.
And he's looking at his teacher, and all of a sudden you see bones and tissue and everything, and he's freaking out because he has no idea what's going on.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of cool, except for the fact that I think if he ran up to that door and bounced it like that, that door would have shot
Would've
across the thing.
Blew
you know?
up. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a couple things that I'm like, all right, I don't understand what they're trying to say about his powers and strengths and things like that right there.
Couldn't
You
you?
know, trying to, like a big guy who doesn't know how strong he is, he's trying to figure it all
Yeah,
out, you know?
that's what I'm kind of thinking. So if he's like in elementary school and all of a sudden goes running as fast as he can, I'm assuming he's going to run as fast as he can.
Kind of
and
like the Lenny of Mice and Men. where
yeah, he
doesn't know
has
his
no
own
idea
power.
about his strength, you know, and
Yeah,
it could be
excited on the playing field and high five somebody and break his arm.
Yeah, and they actually did kind of joke about that, or not really joke, but talk about that in Smallville, where he had a couple accidents where he accidentally broke somebody's arm or really injured them
Same
on
with his
accident.
eyes. When he first
Yeah.
got his eye, it was just like boom, everything lit on fire.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on?
So you know there was some accidents like that they didn't cover that should have happened. I did not like how they shipped him from Krypton, and then all of a sudden you see it landing by a farm, and all of a sudden next thing you know you're on a shipping boat or a fishing boat.
You didn't
know,
like
it's
how
kinda-
I think that was
I was a
fine
little
to
thrown
gloss
off
over
by
that part. We know what the hell happened more or
Yeah,
less, and they played a lot with flashbacks.
And that's what my wife said. She's like, okay, well, I guess they're just kind of saying, well, everybody knows what happened because they've seen Smallville. I'm like, no.
well, I mean, forget about small. I mean, just like look, this is you know how to fill in the blanks from right then. Obviously, Martha and Jonathan.
yeah.
I keep wanting to say Uncle Ben.
But, you know,
It's like
And
wrong.
Andrew.
Yeah.
all you guys know how I feel about Superman.
Yeah.
And audience members out there, you know what I feel about Superman if you watched the show.
Well, tell them anyway for the new viewers.
Goku would rip him apart.
Okay.
That's all I gotta say. Anyway, but you know, it comes back to that fact that there was the canon in there that I actually appreciated when he's fighting the Zod and his minions. That you know, I have trained my entire life to fight, and what have you done? You know, and Superman really never trains. It bugs the crap out of me. And they did do the haymaker. Oh, I can't fight. Pow, pow, pow. Haymaker. Miss. Oops. And then smack.
And then there goes
now,
a $20 million building.
Yeah. Now, my big thing is that if you took somebody who fought in high school, let's just say Superman actually fought in high school, which they obviously showed he didn't, and then pit him against soldiers, supposedly elite soldiers, what would happen? The guy from high school would die in a minute at the most. That didn't happen again. So Superman
He
is
doesn't
a
need to
failure.
worry about it. He's bulletproof.
Well, look, that all
So
being
were
said,
them.
this really was this was the most violent Superman movie that's ever been made.
And I'm going to get to another part of that. So, that's my big thing is that, Superman, they if they want this Superman to do anything, go and learn some martial arts from Batman. Learn something. You don't have to hit Batman, but you can learn how to fight. The other thing, I agree with Jeff 100%. You're fighting some people that are on par with your strength.
See,
They're learning. They're getting there. Hold on. And you decide that the best place to fight this person is in the middle of skyscrapers? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They didn't really
You
give him
must
a
have
choice.
killed at least 1,000. You have a choice.
You
You
rise up
grab
in the
him
air.
by his throat or his hair and rip him up into space and fight him out in space. That's
Yeah,
seriously.
Well, I don't.
Take him to the moon. Destroy the moon.
You're
Who cares if
destroying
he-
what you're trying to protect while protecting it and destroying it at the same time.
I mean, he had more collateral damage than the Twin Towers. Sorry, people in 9/11, but seriously,
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
He
Yeah, he's a
destroyed-
hero, but he killed more than he saved.
exactly.
So what were you saying, Ryan, before you were cut off?
Well, no, I
He's
was
saying a
just
lot of things. I don't really
in
go
the
on.
post 9/11 world, people, it seems that that's almost the only way that movies can kind of up the ante and collateral damage anymore is just really by killing an ass ton of civilians.
Yeah, I mean,
and they show it, they sort of gloss over it, but it's not like the A-Team where it cuts back and shows everybody getting out of the rubble.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, these buildings were coming down, crushing, entire city blocks.
hundreds of thousands of people probably died.
Thanks to Superman, there is now dead
probably
babies.
A few thousand, and countless
Babies can't
billions
run.
of dollars in building and property damage.
I mean, they-
obviously it's a fictional city of Metropolis. Okay, sure. But like you said, let's take it out to some farmland or something.
Yeah, take it out somewhere. Go out to the Death Valley.
Well,
Well,
I will say that not all the
pilgrimage.
guys really had.
What are you going to destroy? A trailer?
There was only General Zod that really had that was really coming up to his power because
But the chick started to.
kind of, but they were all kind of weak. That was the only advantage he had. Was he just had the strength until the end when he snapped his neck. It was just kind of like.
And again, on the snapping the neck, you got to think that Superman, since he just went flying through that building,
One of his
has
punches
more
could have knocked
strength.
his head off.
Has more strength
Because he's been there for longer.
Yeah, so he's got more strength to break his neck and ensure
Well,
that it
not
gets
to mention
broken.
he's not.
That's what I'm thinking they're
Okay,
going by.
but-
not fully absorbed all the radiation that he could, so his neck was probably a little easier to break than
No, I don't buy it because okay, I'm sorry. One punch from Superman could literally take your head off and send your head flying, right?
Well, that's the other thing about what Superman fans, because I get in an argument with Superman fans continuously.
He actually does. I've seen it.
And I always get them to finally shut up after a while because they can't argue with me.
Want to give up?
The logic is, anyway. The point is that if Superman is fighting somebody who is on par with him, and they always say, "Well, he's holding back." If the dude is destroying hundreds of thousands of billions of dollars in buildings, killing hundreds of people by destroying those buildings with the people still in them, because if you got somebody flying in a building, there's no time to say, "Oh my God, Superman's fighting! Evacuate! Evacuate!"
Not to mention, even if it's on a Sunday, the building that size, you got 40, 50 cleaning crew hanging out.
Right.
So those people
What,
are
the
dead.
help is expendable?
If Superman,
Apparently.
As the laser beams is going for these 4 people, oh my gosh, I just killed 40 people just coming in this building. Let me save these 4 people. And all of a sudden, I'm just going to snap his neck. You don't hold back. You don't hold back.
And
you
honestly,
knock his head past the moon, like you're saying.
I know it makes the movie, but he could have just earlier on in the movie been
Put
like,
his hand.
laser eyes, you're all dead. Okay,
Yeah.
end of the story, never started.
Yeah, but I like the fact that Zod was kind of pulling a Joker to me. Of, you're a Boy Scout, you don't want to kill. To finish this fight,
Right.
you are going to have to kill me. I am going to burn these people, or you kill me.
But at the
I
same
think that
time,
was
I
Zod
kind of
was-
enjoyed that. I
they
enjoyed
kinda-
that. I thought that was
I
good.
agree.
I also thought they kind of brought you a little bit to Zod's side on that, just because in the beginning,
Are you
know
talking
he's
about-
the bad guy, but at the same time, it's like
He's trying to save a race.
He's trying to give you a reason to why he's doing what he's doing. So it's almost like, is he a bad guy or is Superman a bad guy for doing this? You kind of have that
killed
question.
Russell Crowe. He's a bad guy.
Well, I think Superman's always been, the character's always been, the goody-goody, truth, justice, in the American way. So you can't have him be like Zod. He's Superman, even though he went a little insane by destroying an entire city.
What they did was give Zod a valid reason for doing what he was doing, even though he took it a little too far. Not even a little too, he took it way too far, but they gave him a valid motivation.
Let's do genocide.
Well, really, I mean, most movies will just put you at like, this guy steps on puppies or something. That's why you hate him.
Right, yeah.
It gave you an actual reason to hate this guy, or to understand what was going on.
Right.
As opposed to just, you don't like this guy because, he's your normal villain. I mean, they kind of explained his side of it more than anything else.
I like Joker. Joker's a lot of fun.
Well, of course you do, but you're not supposed to be technically, going for him, as you would say, as you are for Superman.
Harley Quinn's cute.
So Ryan,
that's a personal problem.
I'm curious. What's your rating on this movie?
It's a 3. It's just kind of an average movie. It had good moments. It had slow moments. It was a nice telling of a story that we all kind of know in a sort of an updated way, and set it right up for the new stuff. I expect all of the JLA movies are going to be 3s until we get to JLA, and then they're going to do something probably on par with Avengers. The movie's going to make $1 billion. Everybody's going to be happy.
Okay.
What about you, James?
I kind of agree with Ryan. Is that as far as this movie goes, it's a 3. As far as Superman movies, I'd give this one around a 4, but we're not comparing it to Superman.
Yeah,
movies,
we're just
so
comparing it to those. Yeah.
Yeah. If I was comparing it to those, this is the best Superman movie that they've done. But
I'll agree with you on that.
3.
It's the better of the Superman movies, but I was just I was disappointed in it personally. I wanted it to be better, so I'm going to give it a 2.
I agree with you that I was disappointed by the movie, but if I compare it, because as you said earlier, you're not a fan of the character. I am not a fan of the character either. But if I look at it, if I take a step back, and I kind of get over my issues with Superman, I have to give it a 3.
Well, honestly, though, I wouldn't say that I'm not into the character. I've watched Smallville. I've watched, I read the 1945 version of a book called It's Superman. I have watched a lot of Superman. Am kind of a fan, and that's why I'm disappointed in it. Just
that's
because.
Interesting. Well, I guess if you look at it that way, yeah, maybe the fans of Superman don't like this as much.
See, I like this movie for a couple of reasons. I like the fact that it's kind of a darker, more serious take on kind of a goofy character to begin with.
And I agree with you. It's a lot darker than all the other Superman.
I think it's more serious. I didn't see dark.
Well,
I would say the cinematography was Johnny didn't get to.
Serious, not dark.
I think it's darker depending on which way you look at it. It's darker because I think it's more. You get to see the fact. You get to see him struggling. You get to see the fact that he just wants to be left alone. He's scared of the fact that the world discovering him, and then you realize at some point he doesn't have a choice. So I think that adds the darkness. Well, I don't think it's like a dark, kind of like Dark Knight Rises. It's not traditional, but I think it adds an extra layer of a character that's kind of ambiguous to begin with.
Yeah.
I also like the visuals. I actually think this is a Superman that even has kind of a grittier style to it. It's not, it's not like the Christopher Reeves movies, which polished, everything pops.
Yeah.
This had a more organic feel to everything.
I felt like I was watching a Michael Bay redo of Superman.
I agree with Ryan. I didn't think the CGI was very much. I mean, you got to expect CGI with Superman.
Yeah, but every other scene, he's flying through buildings.
It looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I have to give this movie a 3 out of 5. I'm like everybody here. I'm not a big fan of Superman to begin with, but I actually think.
Oh, I am a big fan. I don't want to get it wrong.
He likes the tights.
I actually think this is one of the better ones made, and I actually like the costume, which is something I've never said.
The costume was actually pretty cool.
Because I've never said in my entire life, "Ooh, I like his costume," because normally it's ridiculous, especially when you compare. Especially when you compare it to the Batman and the bat suits and all that throughout the years, This one was definitely
I thought you
better.
liked the Val Kilmer's bat suit.
I'm skipping that one.
Which
So-
one has the nipples?
Yes, bat nipples. So, ladies and
I
gentlemen, we're
poke
going
your
to,
eyes out with my
Stab
nipples.
somebody.
ladies and gentlemen, we're going to the movie news portion of the show, and the one I'm curious about is anybody here like any of the extended edition of the Lord of the Rings?
I have no interest.
I like
agree.
Lord of the Rings, the extended edition.
If I want the extended
Yeah.
edition, I'll read the book.
So here is the extended edition of The Hobbit is coming out in quarter 3.
4
which-
hours.
It's
I was gonna say.
Right?
well. Here's the interesting thing. It adds according to this, it adds like an additional 25 minutes of footage
God.
because it adds some in Hobbit, in
So
the
it's
Shire.
6.
It adds some in Hobbiton. It adds more interactions and get to see when when they're with Elrond's house. You get to see more interaction. I think it adds a little bit to it. Scenes I think I wish they added in.
If you didn't read the book, you probably won't appreciate those, and even if you did read the book, you're probably going to be disappointed by it as well.
See, I read.
But if you didn't, I mean, look, if you're into the canon and the universe, that's what all these movies are. Is it just kind of creates a universe that all these things happen. There's a ton of history. You know what I mean?
See,
Yeah,
I've read all the books except for the Silmarillion. I actually like it. There are a few things throughout the Peter Jackson's universe that drive me nuts, but I actually like the extended edition.
And
Even the Lord of the
Hobbit was the thing that got me into Lord of the Rings in the first. But I didn't even know Lord of the Rings was a thing until I was much older. But the Hobbit, I mean, I love that story so much, and actually,
and he's talking about the cartoon.
after seeing the first one, I'm totally down for the next couple.
I agree. I'm down for the Hobbituses, but I don't know if I want to watch something that's going to add another 25 minutes to it. I mean, I've read the book. I don't need that.
See, I'm really looking forward to it
that's
because
kind of where I'm at.
here's the thing: is the fact Peter Jackson movie is not the book.
I understand that.
So
And
it's
yeah,
a
you're
different
right.
interpretation of a universe, which I actually like his interpretation. There's some things that definitely are not in the book and may not even the back history, but I'm actually looking forward to buying it, believe it or not.
Okay. Well, I enjoy it. I like him.
It was entertaining, but I thought it was long enough.
It took me a while to get over Peter Jackson's interpretation of
The universe.
the universe. But I kind of got over it. And I'm like, you know what? All right, that's fine. That's his view of it. But I don't need to see an extra 25 minutes.
See, I'm
I'll
looking.
probably want my 25 minutes back.
I'm looking
I could
forward
watch some
to it.
Naruto.
It'll be interesting to see what happens because I know was it the Return of the King, the extended edition's additional 45 minutes of footage.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll be interested to see what they end up doing with the next 2 movies.
I was working at Blockbuster when all the Lord of the Rings came out. I kept expecting the final because they kept coming out with these boxes that were like this big.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It would be the extended. It came with like a little figure.
The extended, ultimate extended.
After all 3 of the movies came out, I was really expecting like a 6.5 foot set with all the movies extended edition and like a 3.5 foot
Right.
Gollum.
That's probably what happens when you stack them all up.
Well, that's what's going to happen when they have the 3 more extended editions. You're going to have
with all the Hobbit included. You have the 3 Hobbit movies, the 3 Lord of the Rings
don't get
movies,
paid for
all
that.
extended editions, like 22 hours of movie. They're gonna have like a 40-foot by 20-foot box that it comes in.
And
Oh,
don't
yeah.
forget about each extended edition on the the Lord of the Rings has 12 hours of behind the scenes footage that nobody
Scenes
watches.
footage and all that stuff.
God,
yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna come with an original print of the movie
I've
reel.
never watched any of that. I have movies where they
have.
have the behind the scenes. I've put it on accident. I'm like, what the heck is this crap?
See, on Lord of the Rings, I've actually put it in the background, and some stuff is actually interesting.
The one that I always found interesting was the Braveheart with Mel Gibson. If you do the director commentary through the movie, he's got
It
a
really
lot
was
of
pretty crazy how
informative
racist
stuff.
he was during that.
Oh yeah,
I think
he's
the
like,
best,
you see that guy right there? That's a Jew.
I think the best movie for extra
no.
footage
See that chick? Great tits on that chick right there.
for
Jeez.
You should
extended
have seen her on the casting couch.
for extended footage.
Oh,
sorry,
I think
interrupt
that
you
the
again.
best
Sorry,
film
Murphy,
is going to be Anchorman because they made a whole second movie out of the extra footage. Did you know that?
Yes.
Say what?
Anchorman. There's
Road.
2 Anchorman movies out. If you look on YouTube, there's one called The Lost Movie, and
Oh,
they
really?
took all the extra footage from the movie and they actually made another 2-hour film, and
That's
it's completely
insane.
different. Has different actors. I mean, it still has your main
Oh, wait, no
key
Will
people
Ferrell?
in there. Yeah, no, Will Ferrell and all
Oh,
them are in there.
dang.
But it's a
It's Colin
completely
Farrell this
different
time.
plot.
Jeez.
And there's like different
Funny.
actors that are in the Anchorman. I mean, it's like a completely different movie.
I'm gonna have to find that.
So
Yeah, look up the lost movie from Anchorman. It's actually pretty funny.
Okay.
And so for my movie pick next week, I'm going to do the Tuskegee Airmen, made in 1995.
Okay.
Wow, nice.
Wow.
So it's
Pulled it out.
It's similar to, I guess, the Red Tails that came out this year, but it's the better one.
I thought it was
It's
last
the better
year.
one. It's the original.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago Red Tails came out?
Actually, yeah, it's probably recently within the last couple
recently.
of years.
Since 2000.
And it has the same actors in it, so
Really?
You know, this whole Tuskegee
Yeah.
Airmen thing, I think it was run into the ground. I mean, how many times you can tell that damn story?
Well, they've only made, 3 movies out of it?
there's 2.
And like,
Two?
you know,
Okay.
18
Thought there was one-
documentaries and...
Oh, documentaries don't count as movies.
Yeah, nobody watches documentaries.
Yeah, what
so-
are you talking about?
So,
excuse me.
ladies and gentlemen, I gave
This is a film documentary show.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I gave the movie Man of Steel a 3 out of 5. James gave it a 3 out of 5. Ryan gave it a 3 out of 5. And Jeff Michaels gave it The Reluctant 2 out of
Deuces.
5. So we'll see you next week.
Deuces. Deuces.